What the heck is up? Welcome back to another Thursday episode of the Extreme Lifestyle Living Podcast. I'm your host, Emma. Now, in today's episode, I'm going to be talking a little bit about my fitness journey in terms of nutrition, going to the gym, playing sports, all that type of stuff, because I feel like, especially if you only see me on social media and you don't really have that sort of background knowledge of me and you just sort of see me from the outside looking in, it may seem or it may look like I'm in this place in my life. How I look, stick to my habits, and those types of things, the routines and the lifestyle that I run may sort of look a little bit out of reach for you, or maybe a little bit not realistic for you, or maybe seem like it's too far off. And what I want to share with you is, first of all, I didn't get to this place that I'm in right now overnight. That's the first part that I want you to understand. And secondly, not everything is perfect, right? Like, yes, I'm confident in my body. Yes, I feel strong. Yes, I'm happy with the way that I look and the way that I feel. But I still have those days where I don't feel super great, right? And I think everybody still struggles with this at no matter what point they're in their life. And I think that's okay. Like, it's sort of human nature in terms of just having that up and down and that ebb and flow with your emotions and how you perceive your body, especially being a woman, like in terms of your cycle and the hormones and all those sorts of things, how that affects how you think about yourself, your self-talk, maybe how your body is certain times of the month too, which can be one of those things that's really tough to kind of get a grasp on and to handle for yourself, and just really understand that these are normal things to feel. These are normal ebbs and flows to have. So I think by sharing a little bit of my journey when it comes to fitness, what got me to this place that I'm in right now, would be helpful for you, and just to shed a little bit of insight for you too, because like I said, when you see things online, everything looks so perfect and it's always a highlight reel. Despite how transparent I try to be in my content, it is obviously a highlight reel of my life, right? So with this podcast, like I've said before, I really hope to dive a little bit deeper into that more emotional side, and just help you to get to know me a little bit better and get to know my journey a little bit better. And then hopefully some of these things that I'm sharing that have helped me can also help you. So let's take it back. Growing up, I was always a very active kid. I grew up, I always joke and say, in the middle of the woods. It's not really the middle of the woods, but I grew up and there was woods around my house, trees around my house. Like, you can't really see the neighbors' houses. I really, really enjoyed this. It was perfect. Like, looking back, I wouldn't have wanted to change anything about it. I grew up being outside all the time, like sun up, sun down. Days off from school, I was always outside building forts, either by myself, with friends. We'd play road hockey. We used to build jumps on our road and take like our bikes and our skateboards and stuff off of them. So it was pretty fun. I was definitely a tomboy when I was younger, that's for sure. And I still have some of those traits to this day, for sure. But growing up, like I said, sports and anything sort of like physical, I really took to from an early age. I started playing softball very early on. I started playing hockey very early on. And just anything that was physical, I really excelled at. And I guess I sort of learned that I excelled at that from an early age too. So that was where I sort of got my validation from, or where I felt good about myself when I was learning to play hockey. Like, mastering how to stop, those types of things were what I really based my, I guess, worth on at the time, and my progress and just how I was doing. And then obviously as I got older, that kind of progressed through. Like, it would turn into, I would feel validated if I scored a goal, or if I made a good play on the ice, or if I made a good play on the ball field. Things like that were what my validation really stemmed from. And I really excelled at anything that had to do with anything physical, honestly. In gym class, I loved gym class. I was definitely not one of those girls that was like, oh, I have cramps, or my period's hurting, or I have a headache. Like, there's nothing wrong with being one of those girls, but I wasn't one of them. I was always dressed as a tomboy, like ready to play, doing intramurals at lunchtime, playing with the boys, and like wanting to win. So that always separated me a little bit from some of the females too, like especially when I was younger. A lot of girls used to want to play Barbies and play with dolls and dress up and create dances, which wasn't really what I was into. Like, I went through a couple phases of stuff like that, but it was more so like almost I'd go to someone's house and they were doing it, so I tried to like fit in and try to like get myself to like it, but I didn't really enjoy it. And I would just want to play outside or do stuff outside or go play in the woods and catch bugs and catch snakes, go shoot pucks out in the driveway. And most of the girls weren't really into those types of things. So like I said, growing up, sports was like basically my life. I started playing from such a young age in elementary school, and then I progressed pretty well in both sports, in hockey and softball, the two sports that I really, really loved. And I ended up playing pretty high level in both of those sports for most of my time playing them. I started playing AAA hockey in the spring. I started playing for the rep teams for softball, provincial teams. Then obviously as I got older, there was a bit more opportunities with that stuff. And like I said, even in high school, like I mentioned in gym class, how I wasn't one of those girls that was like trying to get out of gym class. Like I wanted to be doing the gym class. Gym was always my favorite class. And it's funny because school wasn't necessarily my forte, I guess you could say. And not that it wasn't really my forte, it could have been. I just didn't really apply myself as much as I should have or needed to, or whatever it is in that situation. I would be applying myself 125% in gym class, but when it came to math class, not so much. I just wasn't really that into it. So sports was my life growing up. And like I said, when I eventually started playing much higher level of sports, especially softball, it consumed my life. Like every weekend in the summer, you were gone away. You started playing in the spring. You stopped playing in the fall. Winter, you'd be doing training throughout the winter sometimes, or most likely I'd be playing hockey throughout the winter as well. So I was always very active year round in these sports, which really helped keep me grounded, helped me focus on something that I loved, helped me feel strong and confident and empowered in what I was doing. And I felt really good about myself. And I felt so confident on the field. I felt so confident on the ice, in the dressing room, in the dugouts. That was truly when I had felt my best previously. And it's funny because when I was playing, even when I went to Canada Games softball, that was kind of the first time that the gym was ever sort of introduced as something that could be beneficial for us. And the gym just wasn't something that was really ever introduced to us by our coaches, or something that was ever really talked about or encouraged upon us to do. And looking back, I'm like, oh my God, like if someone had told me when I was in junior high that I should start weight training and going to the gym and actually working out for the sport that I was playing to help me improve in certain aspects of that sport, I'm like, God damn, like things could have been a little bit different, right? Like just think of, it just makes me think of how much better I could have been if I was doing those things. But that's beside the point. So when I started playing Canada Games softball, that was when we were first sort of introduced to the gym, and it was kind of rough. Like it was, everyone had the exact same program. We went to the Canada Game Center. It was our whole team working out together in like these big groups. So it was rough, right? And that was sort of my only introduction to the gym. Fast forward a few years after I stopped playing sports, after I did a couple years in university and I was done playing sports, I'd kind of aged out for softball, stopped playing hockey. I'd done a little bit of pickup hockey here and there, beer league, but it just really wasn't my thing. I'm just way too competitive sometimes for that. And it was late at night. I was showing up playing with a bunch of boys who were just like there to get drunk. And it just wasn't a great environment, right? Like I was showing up wanting to play and sort of enjoy myself and utilize a bit of my skills. And I was just with people who were just there to kind of get drunk and mess around and not really care what they were doing. It was just more of like a social sort of outlet for them, where that wasn't necessarily what I was looking for at that point. So that really discouraged me from playing for a while. I mean, I haven't played since then. Now, I've been thinking about getting back into it for sure, but in terms of the gym, and sports, when I left playing sports, I completely lost myself. I was so used to every weekend be training or playing in a tournament, playing 5, 6, 7 games sometimes, or having a bunch of practices for hours on end, both days on the weekend, all those sorts of things. So I was really used to that active lifestyle. And then that obviously changed drastically when I wasn't playing sports anymore. I was used to going out with the girls like after practice or after a game or before the game for ice cream, Boston pizza, going to big leagues for wing night, getting nachos, all that sort of stuff. And we still continued to do all of those things. Like the girls, we would all meet up and do all that stuff. We were drinking a lot. And that just really led to unhealthy lifestyle habits and led me to when I didn't really have something to focus on, like my sports that I was focusing on for most of my life. I really became lost and didn't know who I was. I was drinking all the time and partying because I kind of thought that was giving me that validation, or that was making me feel a certain way that I was wanting to, or I was still going out to eat all the time with the girls because that was sort of filling that void that I was missing from before. And I just got to this place with my body and with myself where I just really didn't know who I was. Like I would look in the mirror and I'd obviously gained a lot of weight at one point. I was really unhappy with how I felt about myself, how I spoke to myself, how I looked, how I just carried myself, and just a lot of the decisions that I was making for myself at that time. And I was really stuck in a rut, I would say, for sure, in a really bad place mentally, where I was almost at that point of like, what's the point? Like, I don't even care anymore. Like, I feel so far away from what my dream goal is, or what that dream version of myself is that I want to be, that I just felt so discouraged every day. I would try to stick to some workouts. I would try to do some workouts and literally every day be looking in the mirror, trying to see abs, trying to see lines in my legs, see if my cellulite was disappearing. And I would get so down on myself and so upset when those things wouldn't change. I would skip meals all the time, just consistently be eating less and less and less and less to try to become smaller. But then I would just binge at nighttime or throw out all my progress through the week with going out binge drinking on the weekend and just kind of ruining any progress that I had made of maybe those healthy decisions through the week, of having a good week of eating the foods that I needed to fuel my body, or going to the gym the amount of times that I said I would, but then kind of making a decision to sort of put that on the back burner. And it just wasn't really a priority for me. And I was stuck in this cycle for a couple years, honestly. And like I said, I got to a couple points at times where I was just like, oh my God, like I just feel like I'm never going to be in the position that I want to be again. And it just seems so far off and so far away. I'm sharing this with you because sitting here now today, if you look at my Instagram, if you follow me, or if you're newer to following me or have seen my journey, you may not know that I had once felt like that. Like you may be listening to what I say and relating to those feelings, and that may be where you are right now in your journey, where you are right now in your with yourself mentally, and didn't know that that's where I was at one place too. And you see what you see online from me and how I look, how I carry myself, my confidence, the women that I lead every day. And that I know sometimes can seem daunting and seem like you can't quite get to that point, but I promise you that you can. No, it's not going to happen overnight. No, it's not going to be easy. Yes, you're going to lose people along the way. You're going to need to make sacrifices along the way, whether that's sacrifices with your time, whether that's financial sacrifices, or whether that's just sacrificing friendships that aren't serving you anymore. There's going to be decisions that you're going to have to make to put yourself first and to empower yourself to make those changes for yourself, because it can happen. It is possible. I was so lost after sports. I didn't know what to do in the gym. I just didn't feel confident. And then I decided to really invest in myself and invest in a program and start following that and gain confidence in the gym and gain confidence in myself again and gain confidence in my skin, and just really start to stack those habits on top of each other that made me feel good and made me feel my best. And those are those things that have helped me get to this position of where I am today. And without having sports be such a big aspect of my life and just being such a pillar in my life, I wouldn't have gone through this journey that I have gone through with my body, with my mental health, with my fitness journey, and just with my relationship with myself. So if you're relating to that version of me that I used to be in, just know that every day you have the choice to make decisions that are going to benefit you, to make decisions that are going to make you feel your best. Not every day is going to be easy. Not every day is going to be perfect, but you do have that choice and you do have that option to put your best foot forward and make those decisions for you. Make those decisions for your body, for your mental health, and just to put you first and empower yourself to become that hottest, happiest, healthiest version of you, because it is possible. You just need to stick with it and be consistent and set that goal and just stick to it. That's it for this Thursday episode of the Extreme Lifestyle Living podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in or watching on YouTube or listening wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to check out Trey's Monday episodes, and I'll see you next Thursday. But you bet me in that corner and I'll let it blow. I got time today 'cause